Hi guys, this week we're going to review a logline. Someone, Nabil, he nicked over to the Griffiths creative website, which is in the lower third here, and went and left his logline in the logline review part of the website, because this vlog started off originally as the Logline podcast and it's moved across to YouTube. This is his logline, okay? A world champion in free wrestling challenges to fight and defeat a bull with his bare hands. This is an action comedy. I can see this, and it's very, very few lines. And some of these log lines like this work quite well. One log line I heard that won a logline competition was: a man clones his wife so he can fall in love with her all over again. A rom-com. You can just see what the film is going to be like. You can see what this bullfighting is. A great free wrestler, so it's like the Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant type guys. Fight a bull. The bullfight itself, this is just me and Bill giving some feedback. The bullfight itself is the catalyst for the story. You've got heaps of space here in your logline to throw a bit more in. This is funny, but the bullfight itself can't go for 90 minutes. So you could possibly drop in and tease some of the things around what's going to make this really funny, what's going to work as the action comedy. However, whatever happens to be, A world champion free wrestler is challenged to fight and defeat a bull with his bare hands. However, contract negotiations between the Bullfighting Association and the Free Wrestling Associations force this fight to do something else. Or, something like that. Or his wife says if he does it, she's going to, Or, some of the jokes, pepper them in along the top of the log line. This is one of those great quick pitches that you might do in what's the elevator pitch? Hey, Nabil, you've got an action comedy. Yep, it's about a world champion free wrestler who's challenged to fight a bull. There's the pitch, and people go, oh, okay, what happens? This is that sort of log line. It doesn't tell the whole film, it prompts that, oh, what happens? And the good thing about this, and where a lot of log lines fail, is that you haven't done the "and now must battle nefarious dark forces." They don't try to throw in too much. Sometimes people go that one step too far, as in, that's an intriguing log line, but is torn by his past. You went one step too far and you stood on a landmine. You had me and then you lost me. You've still got me here. This is really good log line. Thanks for sending it in. The other part of today's episode is going to be some of the questions I've seen on Reddit, because I'm over the Reddit forum. I'm Craig D. Griffiths pretty much everywhere except on Twitter, where I think I'm Craig D. Griffiths, or Griffith, no S, 1. I'll put the Twitter handle somewhere here. But I'm Craig D. Griffiths everywhere. So if you want to talk to me on Reddit, I'm over on Reddit at craig.griffith, D. Griffiths. Here's some of the questions. Someone's asked, running a chase scene in one location. How do you do it? I think they meant writing rather than running. So how would I write a chase scene in a single location? You're right, you're inside a building. Rather than say this corridor, that corridor, that would all feel a bit boring. You'd have to write the big beat actions. You would have to think of Die Hard. Read Die Hard, whoever wrote this. I'm not going to put their names up because I didn't get their permissions, but you'll see the questions. The questions will appear up here while I'm talking about them. I would read Die Hard. It's all in one building. But talk about the consequence of the actions and things like this. When I wrote the fight scene in Hostage, that's a fight scene in one room. You write the big things. He pushes him against the wall. The gun falls to the ground. They punch on. Eugene is over there trying to break the chair that he's tied to. Just beats. Back to the fight. Steve is starting to get the upper hand on James, or James got the upper hand on Chris, or whatever, whoever the characters were. It's a few years ago since I've written it. They're punching on. Struggling to get the gun's not further away from them, which is a trope as all hell. Eugene manages to get free of his chair. One arm is still handcuffed to the chair. He scrambles across the floor as panicked as the two fighters are. All three people are converging on the gun. So it's just the big action beats. That's how you'd write this chase scene. He heads down the corridor. He spots a fire door. Heading down the corridor, he spots a fire door, heads for the door. The guards are closing behind them. We see a shot from a security camera showing that the guards are about to enter the corridor he's in. He hits the fire door. He's down the stairs. The guards turn the corner. They see the fire door closing. They head for the fire door. He's not sure whether he's going to go up or down. He heads upstairs thinking there might be better cell phone connections. He heads up a bit, he hears the door and he freezes because he doesn't want footsteps to make any noise. The guards stop on the landing. Just the beats. Two go upstairs, two go down. He hears the ones coming upstairs. He continues to run. Bang, 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 bang. Just the little quick beats that make the story go. You don't have to orientate yourself too much. Just think of it visually. As I say, the corridor, second floor, outside the elevator. Just what people see, what people see, what people see. If there's a distinctive office, he flies past the all-glass office with the red back wall. So you can, if you're orientating people using pieces of furniture or art within the building. Just like that, bang, 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 bang. So the Die Hard, there he is back there, John McClane. That's how I would do that. I'll just hit the big beats in the story. The next question, how to get the most out of a table read? This is really important. When you go to a table read, it is not an ego stroking session. Also, it is not you're being the director. No, you're not saying that line right. Try it like this. That's meaning this. Don't explain it to them, okay? Think of it like those interviews when you see the cops and the baddies in a room and there's someone standing behind the mirrored room just watching them talk. You're the guy behind the mirrored room. You may read the action lines. I've done a few of these over Zoom. You sit, you listen, and you see where the actors stumble over a line. And I quite often say, as you know, I'm an Australian, with actors that from overseas, I say, look, what sounds good in an Australian's head and can get out of an Aussie mouth may trip up a guy from New Jersey. The line is supposed to say this. It's supposed to convey this. If you need to modify the words to make it, because sometimes words don't fit into an actor's mouth, do what you have to do. I always give permission to people to sort of change the lines. It's not religion. It's not a tattoo. Make it so it works for you. Make it fluid. Make it work. That's the table read. You're listening to how people are reacting to things. Whether the actors are confused the first time they read it. Why would I be saying that? Because they're processing these characters really, really quickly in their head. They're working through these things. You also get the pace of the story. Like, oh, okay, he made that point really good. I know he's making that point again. I didn't realise that. He's making that point again. Everyone realises that point's been made. Oh, and make notes of what's happening. Don't try to get the perfect performance out of people. You're getting the most out of the table read, not the performance. That's the advice. Somebody asked, what are story beats? Story beats, the word beat gets used a lot as a pacing thing. You know, John says this, beat, then he says this. But a story beat is normally a small section of story. Can think of it as a sequence. Could think of it as, you know, the beats of the story. We've got the start of the bank robbery. We've got the argument between the bank robbers. We've got this beat, that beat, this beat, that beat. The parts of the rhythm of the story, the little things that turn over in the story that make the story the story. They're not scenes. There could be 3 beats in a scene. There could, you know, those sorts of things. Beats, and they said, how do you transition between these story beats? Well, obviously his concept of story beat is different to mine. He probably thinks of a scene or a sequence of scenes or first act, second act, third act. We didn't define the word beat. So that's the advice I can give. Think of a beat as in, we've got over that, we've got over that, we've got over that, little issues. Beat, 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 beat. The other one here, there's one here about a mentor character, you know, looking forward to retirement, should he die? That's obviously somebody who's sticking to a formula. I've written it down here as one of the things that we might talk about, but I don't stick to those formulas. I don't know those formulas. The crux of this question was, does the mentor have to die? Well, obviously that's in a formula somewhere. But if he's retiring and he doesn't die, would the audience still expect him to die? No. The audiences don't know these formulas. The audience don't know these structures. They don't know the recipes. They don't know this stuff. If it makes sense for him to retire, it makes sense for him to retire. If it makes sense for him to die, it makes sense for him to die. You don't have to have her do anything, him do anything. They don't have to do it. Your story dictates what happens to these people, not a structure, a formula, a special magic sauce. If it makes sense in your story for them to retire happily and take up knitting, if they have to die, they have to die. Sometimes you kill a character to really affect the audience. Sometimes you let them retire to make them go, that makes more sense. I like, it sounds like I'm a serial killer. I like inevitable deaths, but putting the audience in a situation where they're hoping it doesn't happen, which is what a reviewer once said about my screenplay, Amy. I knew she was going to die. It was inevitable, but until she did, I was hoping she wouldn't. Fantastic. And that's why I put hope into the character, I put hope into the audience, but I still killed her anyway. I've killed more people than smallpox. This is the one that I was a bit confused about. Should I actively confuse the reader? No. Do not actively confuse anybody. Intrigue and confusion is different. Making people wonder what's going to happen, making them lean in, making them guess. There could be a little bit of confusion there, but to completely confuse your reader is to lose them, because confusion makes them think with a different part of their brain. It makes them go for logic. It makes them draw on previous experiences. It makes them begin to think, and that's not what you want them to do. I know it sounds bad. You want them to experience, okay? Wonderment is part of experience. You're on a roller coaster and you're going up the hill and you're beginning to feel the experience, and you're am I going to go over the edge? What's going to happen? Oh, and there's all that anticipation. You don't know what's going to happen, so you're a bit intrigued, you're a bit worried, you're a bit cautious, all that sort of stuff. But as you're on the way up, you start going, well, engineers would have to get this assessed every 6 months. I'm not connected to the story anymore. That's what you don't want. You don't want to confuse people, so they have to go and use a different part of their brain. You want them to switch off the logic. You want them to switch off the thinking and focus on the experience. And the quickest way to pull someone out of a story is to confuse them. Give them intrigue. Give them a sense of, ooh, isn't that interesting? But don't confuse. That's it, guys. If you could, thank you. Do those things. A lot of people have been doing it, been having some great conversations. Heaps of chit-chat and comments. Like, follow, subscribe. Share this with other people if you know other writers that you think may help. And until next time, guys, keep writing. Bye.